Welcome back to Rare vs. Photos. Hope you've been enjoying the series I've been doing on Linda Thompson and Priscilla Presley interviews. This is one of my favorite appearances of Linda. You know, she's always very cheerful and positive when it comes to Elvis. Now, I know some of y'all are not big fans of Linda Thompson. And if you're not a big fan, let me know in this video. And you know, we're going to talk about some of the things in this video that she says it could be controversial. Maybe it's too much information. Maybe it's not enough information. Maybe, like I said in the last video, some people think it's more all about Linda instead of all about Elvis. But that's what I'm leaving up to you, the fans, to tell me what you think. I've got my opinions, and sometimes I share those opinions, and sometimes I try to keep them kind of level when it comes to my thoughts and my ideas and, you know, the commentary that I do have. And I should pop back in and talk about a few things here and there as we enjoy this classic interview of Linda Thompson.
I was having Larry backstage, sorry.
Tell him what you said. Oh, thank you.
I said I was hugging Larry backstage because I haven't seen him for so many years.
Yeah.
So it's great to run into all the people that
That's been what, yeah.
I knew back in another life. How's everybody? You must be exhausted by now. I know this is a long session. They're going to be worn out.
No, that's what we're here for.
Did you get bathroom breaks?
Yes. Yeah.
That's important to me.
I planned my whole day around that. I was saying that my Elvis week started off back last week with the Mansion Tour with you, and you had a great opportunity to sit and talk to fans. It was a very informal kind of discussion back and forth between you and the fans. And
so much fun. It's always so wonderful to get some one-on-one time, you know, with the fans. With is that my phone? I'm expecting my 5th grandchild. Today is her due date. I know. It was a struggle getting on the plane to come here because I like to be there, you know, and hold the baby first and all that.
we'll tell Pam. Pam, if she gets the
Yes,
call,
if
let
I
us
get the
know.
call, let me know. That's the ring that my son Brandon has, that old-fashioned ring. So yeah, it's the 5th grandchild. We don't know if it's a boy or girl. They don't want to know. I said, let me find out. I won't tell you. But they didn't go for that anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, it's wonderful to sit, you know, one-on-one with some of the fans and get to hear the questions that they're most curious about and share some memories and insights into Elvis's beautiful soul, his beautiful spirit. You know, I feel so incredibly privileged and honored and humbled to have known him on such an intimate level. We've talked before, Tom and I, you know, we were all things to each other. I was his confidant, I was sometimes his mommy, you know, sometimes his lover, sometimes his sister, and always his friend. And we covered the gamut. So I think in those kind of relationships, you know, you really get to know someone so intimately and so personally, and the human entity, not the Elvis on the marquee. You know, he used to say, I would say, honey, so many people love you. He said, yeah, but they love Elvis Presley. They don't know little Elvis. And I said, you know, I think they do. And that's the one wonderful thing about Elvis's fans. You love him not only for his extraordinary talent and his looks, but for his humanitarianism, his philanthropy. You know, he was such an extraordinary human soul with such generosity. Pardon me. And I love you guys for loving him for those reasons.
And we were sitting there, and you were talking about, you know, that first meeting with Elvis and how things evolved, and it happened rather quickly. And we'd said before, if it was in a movie, it would be totally unbelievable because it's so romantic and meet cute kind of thing.
Even writing my number down on a matchbook cover that Joe Esposito handed him.
Oh, you got to tell about your feelings about, because this is so cute.
My being coy.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know, I was a Southern belle, and I was really quite prudish. I was kind of stultified in my emotional growth, I think. So I was in the movie with him, and did you want me to tell them?
Yeah, I guess we got to get to the TGI
Oh, you want
Teacher,
that?
yeah,
Thing?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it all happens in 24 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I was Miss Tennessee Universe, and my roommate in the Miss USA pageant was Jeannie LeMay, who was Miss Rhode Island. We became best friends. We were total opposites, but became best friends, and she moved to Memphis to be near me. We're walking down the street one day in Memphis, and we were starving. She said, oh, there's a TGI Fridays. Let's go in there and have a hamburger. She talked like that because she's from New York and New Jersey and Rhode Island area. Let's go in there, we can have a hamburger. And I said, oh, no, Jeannie, we can't go in there. We are two unescorted ladies, and they serve alcohol in that establishment. We'll look like pickups. Thank God for Jeannie LeMay, because she said, are you kidding me right now? She said, move your ass. We're going to hamburger. We're going to get a hamburger. I said, okay. So we're standing in the door waiting to be seated, and we hear this voice call out, and it's T.G. Shepherd. He says, hey, Linda, come over and we'll buy you lunch. And I said, see, we're getting picked up. So we walk over, and we sat with Bill Browder, and I knew him as Bill Browder, but he changed his name to T.G. Shepherd. We sat with him for a while, and his friends, and he bought us lunch, and he said, hey, do you girls want to come to the Memphian tonight? Elvis has rented the theater, and he's showing movies. And Jeannie, without taking a breath, said, yes, we'll be there. What time? I said, Jeannie, we have to model tonight. We have a job to do. No, I'm sorry, we can't come. She said, we'll be there. We'll get substitutes. What time? Had it not been for Jeannie, I might not have ever met Elvis. Certainly under different circumstances if I had. But so we got my cousin Shelley and her friend to model for us that evening, and we got in a lot of trouble because they didn't want cousin Shelley and her friend. They wanted Miss Tennessee and Miss Rhode Island. But Pat Kerr-Tigert, who lives in Memphis, was my chaperone and the pageant director, and she ultimately forgave me because things worked out that, I ran off with a rock star. But we're in the movie theater, and, Elvis sat in the center row, and in the center of the center row of the theater, no one was allowed to sit in front of him or on the same row. We all sat behind him. And I sat down, and Elvis kept talking to me. Well, at first I should go back and talk about when he first came in the door. I'm talking to David Stanley, his stepbrother, and the door gets, bang, bang, bang on the door, and the guys run over and open the door, and he said, what the hell? He's got a big, long flashlight, and he said, why was this door locked? Sorry, boss, we thought you were coming in the front door. And so he was kind of agitated, and he's flashing the light around, and it flashes on my face, and he goes, oh, hello. The whole demeanor changed right away, and he became that charming Southern gentleman, and he sauntered over to me, and he said, well, hello, honey. And David Stanley said, this is Miss Tennessee Universe and Miss Rhode Island Universe, and, she just got here from Puerto Rico. And so Elvis started talking to me, and I thought, because I'm a Memphis girl, I thought he was just being hospitable and inordinately friendly because we were, kindred spirits. We're from Tennessee. So he said, come on in and we'll watch the movie. So we sat down behind his row, and George Klein came and sat next to me. And Elvis kept turning around, showing me this big, beautiful diamond emblazed watch that he had just gotten. And, honey, you like this watch? And it's pretty, isn't it? It's got 1,300 diamonds or whatever. I said, yeah, I like it. And again, I'm green and such a prude. And so he would go like this, roll 'em, and the movie would start. So he very coolly did the roll 'em thing, and the projection started the movie, and neither of us ever remembered what the two movies were. It was a double feature that evening, and he and I could not recall what we watched. But Angie said she'll go back in the records.
Yes, you can look at it.
Angie knows everything. So he got up when the movie started, and he tapped George Klein on the shoulder, walked up past him, tapped him on the shoulder, and George got up and walked back to the lobby. So Jeannie and I were going, oh, that is so cute. We're doing our little silly girl thing. And I feel someone come and sit next to me, and I think it's George Klein, resuming his position. And I look, and it's Elvis. And I said, oh, to what do we owe this honor? And he was taken aback by that comment. He goes, well, honey, I just wanted to come and sit here and talk to you and get to know you a little better. And again, I'm thinking, oh, he's just being hospitable and friendly because we're both from Tennessee. Then he starts the old, arm on the chair and starts nuzzling me up. And I thought, oh no, this man is married. I do not date married men. And I had no idea that he wasn't married at the time. And I said, Jeannie, we have to go. This is inappropriate. And he leaned over to me and he said, sweetheart, you know I'm not married anymore. I said, well, no. This got more interesting. I said, no, I had no idea that you weren't married. And he said he had been separated since the previous December, January, beginning of January. And this was July the 6th, 1972. And I said, I'm really sorry to hear that, but you should have married a Southern girl. And he never forgot that comment. And it rang true to him because he and I were kindred spirits. We did share the same love of family, devotion to family, the same religious fervor, the same upbringing. And if you're raised in the South, you know what I mean. There is a culture all unto its own if you're raised in the South, with everything from the cuisine that we love, my country food, Cracker Barrel.
You've got to get an endorsement deal.
I've already been. I know. I should be a spokesperson
Really
for the
should.
Cracker Barrel.
You need to write their theme song. Or something.
I've already been, had my catfish, turnip greens, and fried okra. I do. And so, anyway, we really connected on just a deep level right away. And we started kissing in the movie. It was like we should have been in a drive-in theater. We were making out the whole time, not watching the movie, and talking and laughing and kissing. And when the double feature was over, he said, now, sweetheart, I want you to come to Graceland tomorrow night. I'd like you to meet my dad, and I want to show you around my house. I said, oh, that would be great. Yeah, okay, I'll be there. And he said, so let me get your number. And playing it cool, I said, well, I don't have a pen or a piece of paper or anything to write it on. I wanted him to do the work, trying to be hard to get, I guess, which I wasn't. He didn't have to work too hard. So he called Joe Esposito over and he said, Joe, give me something to write on. I want to write down her number. I want her to come to Graceland tomorrow night. And Joe typically would, he made all of his phone calls. He did everything, for Elvis. And he typically would have written down the number himself, but instead he handed him a matchbook and a pen, and Elvis wrote down my number on the matchbook, which is cliche. Like you said, if this had been a movie, you couldn't have made that up. So he walked me out to my little car. I was a little Vega, and a little blue Vega, no air conditioning, and again, sweltering heat. And kissed me goodnight. He said, is this your car? I said, yeah. I was very proud of it because I had won it from Miss Liberty Bowl. I won Miss Liberty Bowl. I said, I was Miss Liberty Bowl, and they gave me this car free. And in his mind, I know now, later, he was churning, what kind of car can I get her to replace this little piece of crap? Because when I went to Graceland the next night, he again mentioned that little unair-conditioned Vega. So I went to Graceland the next night, and he took us around on the golf carts, and you've all been to Graceland, right? You've all been through the mansion. And in the back field, there were cornrows, literal cornrows that didn't have any corn on them anymore, but they were bumpity, 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 bump. And it was his favorite thing to do, to take us on thrill rides through the cornrows. So Jeannie and Red West were in the back of the golf cart, get bounced around, because I wanted Jeannie as my backup. She was like my wing woman, I wanted things to be on the up and up. So, he and I just connected, and I stayed there till 4 in the morning, and then I left and went on vacation with my Aunt Betty Sue down to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and was disconnected for 2 weeks. And when I came back from the beach, the phone was ringing, and it was Joe Esposito, and he said, where the hell have you been, Elvis? The boss has been looking for you. He said, I know your number by heart. And Elvis grabbed the phone away from Joe, and he said, where the hell have you been? Who do you think I am? I'm Elvis Presley.
All right, Elvis fans, what do we think about that section? It's the interviewer of this. This is really, it's for Elvis week in a sense, you know. So there's not going to be any hardball questions, but it's definitely he's definitely a fan. So we're not going to get anything that any questions that are controversial for the most part. But yeah, let's continue on.
Yeah, I know. I said, I told you I was going to go on vacation for 2 weeks. And he said, you didn't tell me you were going to drop off the face of the earth, because there were no phones, no cell phones then, and we didn't have even a rotary phone in our little beach shack that we were in. So he said, I want you on a plane. Get on a plane tomorrow morning. I want you in LA. We're going to Vegas to start rehearsals for my Vegas engagement. And I said, I still have sand between my toes. I've never been to Las Vegas. I don't know what to bring. He said, don't worry about it. Just get on that plane. So Joe got back on the phone and said, you know, I'm going to send you a ticket. Be at the airport tomorrow. And Elvis, it was so funny because he said, who the hell do you think I am? He said, I told you, I want to be with you. That means I want to be with you. I said, okay. Sold.
Hard to get. Yeah.
Really hard to get, wasn't it? But oddly enough, you know, even though I was pining over him for those 2 weeks that I was in Gulf Shores, Alabama, listening to his music, playing Just Pretend incessantly, just pretend I'm holding you, or something. I was pretending, and probably in his estimation, I was playing a little bit hard to get, because I didn't write my number down and say, oh, please call me. And I disappeared for 2 weeks, which made him probably a little more desperate to get in touch with me and see me.
Yeah.
And then he got used to me. He knew I was there. I wasn't going anywhere.
And we were talking at the mansion when you said every room, every part of the house has a memory. And one of our people that was on the tour said, you know, where did you spend most of your time? Like in the living room, down in the TV room, and where you spent the majority of the time is one of the. It's the part of Elvis's life that's left that we're not a part of. We haven't seen it. We're not allowed to, and that was his special place.
Yes, and it's not salacious as it sounds, but our favorite place to be was the bedroom, and it was because we were separated, sequestered from the outside world, from even the 13 guys that sat around downstairs waiting for him to come downstairs and hang out with them, watch TV or go to the movies or whatever. And he was always so surrounded by so many people, and so many people that, oh, can I get a photo? Or, you know, hey boss, this person wants that. And so when we were at Graceland, we really loved just going up to the bedroom, reading books. We read a lot of spiritual books. He studied religions from all over the world. He used to wear a crucifix and an Egyptian ankh and a Star of David. And I remember a guy asked him one time in Vegas, he said, hey, Elvis, man, you got all these religious symbols on your neck. Are you confused? And Elvis said, no, man, I just don't want to miss heaven on a technicality. So he was just on a quest, you know, to learn as much as he could. So it sounds, you know, kind of sexy. Oh yeah, our favorite place was the bedroom. But it was just because it was our private refuge. It was our place that we could be sequestered and private and talk and share intimate secrets about each other and read our books and pray. You know, we prayed together. He was an extraordinary human being and so vulnerable in so many ways. And I got to see that tender, sweet little boy side of him that is still within all of us. You know, we're all still our little kids that just grew up, but we still have that child within us. And he was very much that way because he was an only child, and very much adored and sheltered by his mom and dad. And speaking of only children, I met Polly. I met your mama.
Yeah.
Tom is an only child too.
I'm an only child from Tupelo. In the course of doing the mansion tours, Angie, we would at the beginning do the photos for the fans because they got them printed out at the end. And then Linda and I would go back into this little part of the annex of at Graceland, you know, and we would sit and talk. And there's something about her that when you're talking, you just open up and just start.
I'm an open book.
Yeah,
I have nothing to hide.
But the way you're a therapist for people. And Pam was saying that you have a lot of relationships with friends that they come to you for, and I just started, because you were saying, like, tell me about you. Because you've been to Tupelo and you've been to the birthplace.
Love Tupelo.
Yeah, and I was just talking about growing up there, and my mom, that's the reason I love Elvis and things, and she's a big part of my life that I still she comes to see most of the stuff that I do, and you were like,
He started calling me Dr. Thompson.
Yes, Dr. Thompson.
Yes, the therapist.
I was talking about my mom is, she won't mind me saying this, because watch how impressive this is.
She looks great.
Yeah, 94. But she'll be 95 in October. But she's everybody has that person that brings you into the Elvis world. And then look what I'm doing.
That's amazing.
So,
and you do it so well, right?
Thank you.
Can we get a good honestly, you're so engaging and you're so appropriately inquisitive, about Elvis,
I like
appropriately inquisitive, because there are some people who are not appropriately inquisitive, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I have, and I recognize that I have lived already an extraordinary life. I've had many challenges in my life and many things that I have had to understand, or at least accept, even if you can't understand some things that happen to you or that occur in your life. You have to be kind about it and just try to accept it and let life flow through you. And that's some of the things that we talked about. We were laughing because I said, do you want to just lie down on the sofa here and just tell me all about it?
I'm going back to first grade. Oh, and then I'm getting the bill later from her, so that's going to be really exciting. No, but I'm glad you got to meet Polly, because when I told my mom about all of this, I said, what do you want to go to? And I want to see Linda Thompson.
Aw,
So
that touches my heart.
So
'cause
she's here.
She's darling, yeah. I made a point of going up to her, and I told her that you had said the most lovely things about her. And as the mother of two sons, I said this to her, as the mother of two sons, nothing means more to me than that my children love me and appreciate the upbringing that they've had. And I told her that you did with your upbringing from her.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. I mean that sincerely. Nothing's more important than family.
All right, well, that wraps up this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Stick around. I will be doing some reading of some of the books later on today. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for joining us here on Rare Elvis Photos.